Nancy stared at the holographic message floating above her compad, her heart sinking with each word. Her adoptive Zolarian parents were asking for 50,000 credits. Again, emergency medical treatment. The message read in her mother Shalara's elegant script. Your father Cathar has fallen ill. We need immediate assistance. Parker looked up from his engineering console aboard the transport ship Terran Dawn. That's the third emergency this cycle, he said. His brown eyes filled with concern for his crewmate. Nancy, you can't keep doing this. Nancy had been adopted by the Zolarians 23 years ago when her human colony ship had been attacked by pirates. She'd been only 5 years old, the sole survivor. Shalara and Cathar had taken her in, raised her as their own despite the interspecies challenges. Or so she'd always believed. They're my parents, Parker, Nancy replied, though her voice lacked conviction. They saved me, and you've repaid that debt 10 times over, Parker said, setting down his tools. Look, I know it's not my place, but you're broke. You work double shifts, you never take leave, and every credit you earn goes to them. Nancy knew he was right. She'd been sending money for years' education expenses, housing repairs, medical bills. The requests had become more frequent, more urgent, more expensive. I'm going to visit them, she announced suddenly. Parker raised an eyebrow. They live on Zelara Prime. That's 3 jump gates away. I have leave saved up, and Nancy hesitated. I need to see them. Something feels wrong. 2 weeks later, Nancy stood outside the dwelling she'd grown up in on Zelara Prime. Parker had insisted on coming, taking his own leave to accompany her. The neighborhood looked different than she remembered, wealthier, more developed. She pressed the entrance chime. When Shalara opened the door, her iridescent features shifted through several colors surprise. Then something that looked like guilt. Nancy, we weren't expecting you, Shalara said, her translator implant rendering her words into perfect English. I wanted to surprise you and check on Father. Nancy stepped inside, Parker following close behind. The interior was stunning. New furniture, expensive art pieces, a molecular cuisine synthesizer that cost more than Nancy earned in a year. Through the transparistile window, she could see a luxury aircar parked in the charging dock. Where's Father? Is he resting? Nancy asked, a cold feeling spreading through her chest. Yes, he's... Shalara's colors flickered uncertainly. He's at the Graviton Club, came Cathar's voice from the doorway. He walked in carrying shopping bags from high-end stores, looking healthier than Nancy had ever seen him. Oh, Nancy, the silence stretched like a chasm. You're not sick, Nancy said quietly. Cathar set down his bags. Sit down, child. Let us explain. Don't call me that. Nancy's voice was steel now. Parker placed a supportive hand on her shoulder. The medical emergency? The credits I sent. Shalara's colors dimmed to shameful grays. We needed them. The social standing we lost when we adopted a human child. The opportunities denied to us. So you've been using me as a credit source? Nancy felt tears burning her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. For 23 years, you raised me, and this whole time, we did raise you. Cathar protested. We fed you, educated you, gave you a home when no other Zolarian family would, and made sure I paid for every second of it, Nancy finished. She looked around the lavish dwelling, thinking of her cramped crew quarters, the meals she'd skipped to save credits, the promotions she'd turned down because she couldn't afford the required training courses. Parker stepped forward, his jaw tight. On Earth, we have a saying, family doesn't have a price tag. You're human. Shalara said dismissively. You don't understand Zolarian economics. The social debt of raising an alien child is nothing compared to the moral debt of lying to that child for 2 decades. Parker cut her off. Nancy pulled out her compad and began typing. I'm transferring 5,000 credits to your account. That's everything I have left after paying for this trip. Nancy, we need more than... Cathar began. That's the last credit you'll ever receive from me, Nancy said, her voice clear and firm. Consider it payment for room and board. The emotional manipulation, the lies, those are free. She turned to leave, then paused. I spent years feeling guilty that I wasn't Zolarian enough, that I was a burden. Turns out, I was just a profit margin, As they walked back to the transport station, Parker said, "You know the ship's crew. We're hiring a new engineer. The pay is better than your current position." Nancy wiped her eyes. "Parker, you don't have to. We're not just crew," Parker interrupted gently. "We're family. The real kind. The kind that doesn't send invoices." Nancy managed a small smile. "Humans and your found family concepts. It's one of our best traits," Parker said with a grin. "That and our spite. You know what would really tick them off? You succeeding without them. Spite-driven success." Nancy laughed despite herself. "Very human. You're learning." As their shuttle lifted off from Zelara Prime, Nancy looked down at the planet that had been her home. She felt lighter somehow, despite the pain. For the first time in years, the credits she earned would be hers. Her future would be hers. Parker was right. The crew of the Terran Dawn had been more family to her in 3 years than the Zolarians had been in 20. They'd celebrated her promotions, covered her shifts when she was sick, taught her poker and earth music, and the value of friendship without transactions. "Thank you for coming with me," Nancy said. "That's what family does," Parker replied simply. Nancy nodded, understanding finally that family wasn't about species or biology or even shared history. It was about people who valued you for yourself, not for what you could provide. She opened her compad and began composing a message to Captain Rodriguez. Accepting that engineering position. It was time to build a life on her own terms. A very human thing to do. The end.